This is Wilson McClinton, 400, 800 runner at Spartanburg Methodist College, and this is Miles with Deputy Faulk.
Hey man, I appreciate you joining Miles with Deputy Faulk, man. It's always good to see, the younger generation do something positive, especially in your case, man. Running actually paved a way for you to get a scholarship. Yeah. So we're gonna actually talk about that, man. We actually gonna set my watch here. I'm not as fast as you, so I'm gonna set my watch.
I'm gonna start my run too on my phone.
Okay, and we gonna see how far we can get down with it. So, my first question for you, you were able to get a scholarship by running, right? Yep. And so I guess my question is, was running always a part of your dream? And when did you figure out that I'm gonna use running as a way of paving my way to educational success?
No, running was not always something that I wanted to do. I actually used to play soccer when I played soccer from the age of 4 to 14. And, okay. I stopped playing once I was about 14, and I kind of just let it go. But I kind of let it go, and my high school coach, who started out with me, Coach Stackhouse, he just kind of took me, and I started with cross country. Then, as high school went on, I just decided, honestly, my senior year is when I decided I wanted to do this in college.
All right, so basically you kind of started late in the game. And so, hey, so my question is, when you noticed that you wanted to get a scholarship, what path did you take? Who did you contact? And someone who's in high school right now, who's training to get a scholarship, what can they do?
Personally, I had really good coaches, and if there's a coach in the state, a college coach, my coach knows them. But even if you don't have coaches like that, and everyone's not as fortunate to have coaches like that, just apply to schools and start emailing, get phone numbers, and talk to people. But you really just want to know, look at your times and look at the times in that conference and see if you can compete there. So, because everybody knows, of course everyone would want to go to Oregon, places like that. Okay. But you have to be realistic with the work you've put in, and just knowing where you can go and get money. Because at the end of the day, it's about your education.
If I can ask you the second question, right? When obviously you got a scholarship to Spartanburg Methodist, and I'm kind of curious to know, what is the training program prior to the scholarship and after the scholarship? Is it the same? Is anything different? Can you expound on that?
To be honest, it's about the same, because in high school, back to my coaches, they kind of prepared us for this type of stuff. Like once they, realize, or even before, honestly, just to prepare us to, be a good team. We train like a college team. Okay, so can you explain, what do you mean? What do you mean when you say that? I had a homeboy transfer. This is one of my closest friends. He transferred from another school in the district, and he's a jumper. He's like, dang, they got the jumpers running like we run on the track. And and I was like, dang, they do, I ain't gonna lie. They have jumpers doing 200 repeats. And I'm like, what? But, that's a college type of thing. I seen jumper runner in college. I seen one run a mile. But honestly, we really just train hard, and our workouts are, oh my Lord. Back in high school, I threw up about 2 times a year. It was just them type of days.
Serious?
Yeah.
Okay.
So honestly, now that I'm getting here to this, it's not as bad. Don't get me wrong, it's still hard. I'll never say that it's not hard, but I was kind of prepared. I knew what was coming. So when it's time to get in these hard workouts, I can just attack it instead of just some people, when they get these harder workouts,
Right.
it shocks your body, and like you just don't, you're not ready for it. Some people, they get to college, and that first, little while is hard,
Right.
but it's still hard, but it's not as bad as it would be because I was prepared for it in high school by my coaches.
Okay. Well, I grew up in New York, and so in New York, there's a lot of peer pressure that we go through. I mean, we have, the gangs, drugs, girls, everything like that, right?
Yes, sir.
And so I'm curious, with this generation, how are you guys able to stay focused? More so, what kept you focused, in high school to achieve a good accolade such as attaining a scholarship?
So you're a cop, This stuff is all that stuff that you just said, still a thing.
Right.
It's an ongoing problem.
Okay.
But it just really depends on who you want to be and who you want to be around. And my pupils have always taught me, my parents, they've always taught me you are who you hang around.
Okay.
So you need to they've always taught me you are who you hang around. So you need to be around people who you want to be like, or people like you. So honestly, it's not that hard staying away from it, but I do believe that people struggle with that and getting around in the wrong crowd and just doing things that they shouldn't be doing, or just they don't know it's wrong. Some people don't know it's wrong because that's all they have. But to be honest, you just have to know what you want to be and be true to yourself, to what you want to be.
You spoke about, being true to yourself and staying to who you are. And unfortunately, a lot of youth, they lose their way doing that, especially going to college. So my next question to you is, have you found it hard adjusting to college life? What's hard for you? What's easy for you? What do you like and don't like? Now be mindful, your parents is watching this. All right. So it's okay to plead the fifth. But so how was adjusting to college hard for you?
Honestly, I'm still struggling with it. Adjusting to college. I tend to come home a little too much. Like these past few weeks, I don't remember a time I have stayed at school on the weekend.
Okay.
But I haven't remembered a time where I stayed at school on the weekend. And because most of the time, you want to stay at school on the weekends. You don't need to come home all the time. It's okay to come home, but I just be wanting to come home. But really, it's hard just like settling down an hour and a half away from home. I've always lived, from where we are now, I've always lived at least like about 15 minutes from here.
Okay.
So it's kind of hard moving away. Even if it's only for school, it's kind of hard to just not finding yourself, but finding people to be around, the right people to be around. Because, some people go to college just because their parents make them, or it's just something to do.
Right.
And you have to find those people who are there to really do what they need to do.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? As in, get their degree and use their college degree for what they need it to. Some people just go to college because oh yeah, I'm going to college. You know what I'm saying? But you just have to find people who are like-minded and just smart people to be around, because for some reason in this day and age, you can't trust that everyone can make the right decisions, because something happens all the time. Anything like situations, you just gotta know how to think when something goes down. And everybody, I don't know. I don't think everybody can do that.
So my next question to you, when I was in college, I was taught that there's a difference between expectations and standards. So an expectation is what others view of you based upon past results, what you view of yourself based on past results. But a standard It's something that you built inside of yourself internally. There's no room for failure. The bare minimum, I must do this, or whatever that is. So what are some expectations you have set for yourself and some standards?
Expectations, like bare minimum, I have to do this, is make good grades. That's my first priority. Because that's what I came there for, right?
Right.
So, and I don't want to just be skimming by. I want to excel in college. So just making good grades is my first expectation. And then some standards, you know, always try and give 100% in track. Just always. You know, because track is not a sport you can just come to practice and mosey around. You know what I'm saying? Right. You kind of gotta want it. It's not easy. To be honest, running is not easy. It's never easy.
No, it ain't easy. Especially for an old man like me.
You know, nobody just like runs like that's, you're pushing your body. No matter how fast you're going, you're pushing your body to do something it doesn't like.
Right.
So.
And so those are some of your expectations and standards. My question is there a quote that you live by, that you know, this means a lot to me. Yeah. This gets me through my day. What is it?
It's actually my background. It's job 22. You will succeed in whatever you choose to do, and the light will shine on the road ahead of you. So I kind of live.
Say that, you gotta say that again, bro.
Okay. It's job 22. And it's you will succeed at whatever you choose to do, and the light will shine on the road ahead of you.
Okay. Explain that. How does that affect Will's?
Because, you know, sometimes people try and psych themselves out of things, and I think people can do whatever they choose to do if you put yourself to it. You're not just gonna get it by wanting to do it. You have to actually take a step forward and do what you want to do. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And, you know, by the second part of that, by saying the light is that the light will shine on the road ahead of you.
Right.
You know, that's kind of just like when you do choose to put your foot forward and do something, that's the light at the end of the road. Okay. So, yeah.
Okay. And so I have to ask you, with all the accolades that you have, which is, you know, amazing for a young man your age. So, but what matters to you the most?
What accolades?
Yeah, all your achievements. What matters to Wilson the most?
Honestly, probably my state championship. That was just a really cool experience. And if I could do that day over again, I would.
So why?
It was just a really special moment. Like,
everything you trained for.
Yeah.
Came to fruition.
It's crazy. Like, honestly, if you would have asked me when I was 14, a freshman in high school, if I'd be a state champion, no.
Okay.
I would never say that.
So what changed?
Honestly, we got a new coach, and you know, he kind of put a winning spirit in our minds. It was a
mentality.
Yeah, it was a mentality, and you know, my senior year was a little different because I was kind of actually, believe it or not, I was getting a little tired of track, and I wasn't sure if I wanted to do it anymore.
Right.
So I actually was gonna switch events. I was gonna run the 400 hurdles, but some things happened. We had some transfers, and I ended up going back to mid-distance. So, but I'm glad I stayed at mid-distance. I'm glad for that opportunity to go back, to be honest.
There's no secret that there's a disconnect between law enforcement and the community we serve, right? Yeah. And so, coming from high school, going into college, what do you see? What can we do as officers to help bridge that gap that currently exists?
Honestly, I wish it was more people like you who can connect. Like, you see, we connect. We both like to run.
Right.
There should be more. I don't know how you would do it, but more ways to connect interests. There's always going to be like people in this world. So if you could just find things that people like to do and stuff like that,
Yes, sir.
just to bring people together, because honestly, we need more of that in this world, to bring people together. People always feel like you're in things alone. There's always somebody you can be with. There's always someone there for you.
Right.
And I feel like, you know, police and law enforcement, they can show that. They're always there for you. And I understand that, but some people are, you know, I think you can agree, some people are scared of law enforcement. Even if they haven't done anything,
Right.
they'll still run. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
So by showing that y'all are just people, just like me and you,
Right.
then, you know, just finding a common ground where people connect would be great.
Yes, sir. I like that, man. I like that idea and that approach. And I wish even officers, we have to be more transparent and open with people. So my last question for you is, you know, my father used to tell me, always have a plan, son. Have a plan A, plan B, C, D. Just go through the alphabet. One of them gotta work. So my question to you is, what's Wilson's plan 5 years, 10 years from now?
5 years from now, I'll be just graduating. I'm class of 2028.
Okay.
So that's about a year after I graduate.
Okay.
So I would just, me personally, I just want to, within that 5 years, I just want to take everything in. You know, I feel like I'm going to learn a lot in these next 5 or so years.
Yes, sir.
And with, whether it's with track or school, I just want to learn a lot. And, you know, take whatever I learn in these next few years and just use it. Just make sure I'm using it. I'm not sure exactly what and where, but just make sure that I'm using it. And, you know, like, some people go to college and don't use their degree, and that's okay. But, you know, just make sure I use my degree and get somewhere with it.
Hey, brother, like I said, it's always a pleasure to see the young generation have their head on straight. And obviously, you got it screwed on tight. So, one last thing, if you could just give a message to youth, to the world, whatever, what would you say?
To be honest, hold on, I'm gonna let that.
Okay.
To be honest, to anyone trying to do anything in their life, it's not gonna come. It's not gonna come to you. You gotta know that it's not gonna come to you. You have to put your foot forward and do something about it. If you want something, go get it. And like a track scholarship or just anything, go get it. Contact people, learn about it, and find out. You're not gonna do anything just sitting around doing nothing. You have to talk to people. You have to find like-minded people and make sure you're doing something to always find or get to where you're going.
Yes, sir. So I will add on to that and just say, you know, hard work and be confident. Yes, sir.
Be stagnant water.
Hey, this is Miles with Deputy Faulk. I'm proud to have this young man, Wilson McClinton, to come all the way to join us. I appreciate you, big dog.